Hey everyone. Um, what to say? um, I normally wouldn't come on here in the midst of what I'm going through right now, but Spirit's leading me to talk. So, as you know, I just tend to listen and tend to allow myself to be pushed where I need to go. And yeah, I guess I want to start by I'm on the floor right now, which is really an interesting place to be, lower to the ground, but it also feels so right in this time. And the reason I'm on the ground and lowered is I am experiencing, as some of you know, um, a lot of different ailments in my body right now. My, well, it's really nerdy, technical stuff, but basically, my spine, low back, upper back, shoulders have seized, uh, are in a great deal of pain and uh, overworking, over moving, kind of vibrating. In combination with my jaw, which is starting to seize on one side, and my eyes, which is why I'm wearing these glasses. Because, as some of you know, I was unable to read for you this week, or do anything online because what was happening, which is a very interesting thing in tandem with all of these physical things that are happening in my body, is that I was starting to get really, really bad headaches, to the point where I couldn't see. I felt sick, and I never experienced that before. I've been doing this work online for a very long time. But things are changing, things are shifting in my own body, in my own being. And, technology is advancing, and there are many ways it's good, and there are many ways that we don't really know what its impact is in the body yet, right? Just like smoking cigarettes. Someone thought that's a great idea, smoke them everywhere, right? And then we were like, oh my God, guess what? It causes cancer and people are dying. So actually, it's horrible. Don't smoke ever. So, we don't know always the ramifications of the technology, and the gifts of technology. There's a lot of beauty in it, a lot of advancements, and a lot of lives that are wonderfully impacted by it. But this body in particular is giving me a lot of signals to stop. So I have been on pause. I've been on retreat this week. That means I have been sleeping a lot. I have been hydrating a lot. I have been fasting and eating. Um, and that, when my body, and this is again for my own body, but I'm speaking about this because I'm getting a lot of emails and a lot of people reaching out and saying, help. I don't know what's happening to my body. Things that have never happened before are happening. I'm having pain. I'm having tremors. I'm having seizures. I'm having bowel issues. I'm having all these things. And I'm literally like stopped in my tracks right now. Like I don't know what to do. And I'm so frustrated. And I'm here to tell you, you're not alone in that. That's exactly what's happening, for some of us, not all of us. And thank goodness, not all of us, because we need the some of us that aren't experiencing it to help hold us, to hold space, to work on our bodies energetically, physically, and to support, right, in a different way in this time. And when I say this time, I'm really referring to the intensity of energies right now. Um, Specifically, they started in October, as some of you may have felt, and they have carried through to November. And there has been little glimmers of like pauses in between all the stuff, but mostly it's been really big energy, right? Um, Yeah, I don't need to tell you, I don't need to go into all the ways that it's impacting people, because you're probably feeling the impact in your different way, right? And for me, my body tends to get hit first. And when that happens, I heed that warning. And it comes from years and years of not heeding that warning that has led to debilitating uh, physical things happening, to the point where I couldn't even move at all. Like even this right here would be impossible. So I don't ignore the signs anymore. I listen to the signs. And when I talk about signs, there is no difference between signs from spirit and signs from your body. You are a spirit in a body, right? So you get signs too for your own body, right? And guides and ETs on the other side have told me this, have shown me this many, many times. They say you have what you need. And you have also the ways to work with what you're experiencing. And you can get, and you need to have outward support, right? Whether that's therapy, medical massage, trauma specialists, energy healers, energy workers, whatever it is, there is community around your healing. Like we can't do our healing alone. It's not insular. And we can really feel that right now on the planet. When others are not okay, we're not okay. And we may ignore it. We may not be aware of it, awake to it. We might not even want to go into it, right? And that is a choice. I'm not here to shame anyone, but I am here to say that no one is in this time experiencing nothing, right? Some of us are like, oh my gosh, I have capacity to help. I'm going to help. And I'm referring to a lot right now, right? I'm referring to the war, the genocide in the Gaza Strip and beyond. I'm referring to the dehumanization and killing of children, families of Palestinian descent. I'm referring to the genocide of a lot of different people wrapped up also within that genocide, right? Like it's layered. And not to mention the climate crisis, the climate collapsing. That is quite quick. It's quicker than what I was foreseeing. And that just feels hard. Knowing what I know and seeing what I've seen from my guides about the future doesn't feel easy. In fact, what's something that I don't talk about is that I can feel things before they happen, sometimes days, sometimes months, sometimes years. The energy of that event or thing will come into my body. And at first I was like, what a cruel thing. Like, why would I want to feel what's coming? But when I checked in with my own spirit and with my spirit guides, they said, well, you asked for this. You asked to know so that you could be of service when the event happens, so that you're actually not in the trauma of the event. You've already experienced the trauma, the pain in your body, so that when that happens, you can actually be of service in the ways that you said you wanted to be of service to people and not be sort of like frozen. And I was like, oh, right. Okay. Yeah, that checks out. That makes sense to me. That's a knowing that yep, I know. And so in this particular iteration of this, beginning of November, what I have witnessed is that I am immobilized. My body has been pushed back to places where I haven't experienced in probably a year or two. And it's incredibly frustrating. And if you're feeling physical ailments and setbacks or injuries or things that you've never felt or haven't felt in a really long time, it is part of this energy. And it's not going to be forever. there is a swelling, a heightening of energy. Much like if you have chronic illness, you'll understand the flaring, right? The flaring of the illness coming up. I'm having a flare, and it's like everything is elevated, right? Inflammation. So everything is inflamed right now, and inflammation. So if we think about it in that context, in that way, we can kind of meet it in a different way. And that's what I've been hearing from my guides as I have been literally healing my back and my spine, my neck, this whole area. I've been doing deep processing work with these parts of my body. And what they have said to me is lay down on the ground now. Lay down. And you can see even that little mat back there. That is my lay on the ground mat. And I just put my knees up and I lay my back on the ground and I breathe for 10 minutes, sometimes multiple times throughout the day. And when I do that, sometimes I cry. Sometimes my knees are shaking because I'm keeping my feet flat on the floor, my knees are up, it's like a triangle, right? I'm resting my back and I'm just resting my arms by my side or on my belly. And sometimes there's quivering, sometimes there's movement, sometimes there's anxiety, right? Just laying on the ground, laying on the earth can show us where we're at, where our nervous system is at, and what the body is trying to communicate right now. And if we can have the courage to allow that process to happen, it can start to unravel and uncoil and relax. But until we take that time, everything is sort of like up here with the energy, because the energy is already up here. So our nervous systems are like, without even thinking, matching the energy, right? Which, in some ways is like, yes, we should be aware, we should know, we should have deep feeling and compassion and empathy for what's happening. And we also have to continue in the long run with this, right? This isn't like, okay, in a few months, we'll be somewhere else. Like, yes, we'll be somewhere else, but a lot of these things are going to continue throughout the year, right? So if we are to truly turn our hearts, our minds, our bodies, our spirits, our energy, our focus in a new direction, literally taking the ship and re-steering it, right? I don't know if you've ever, I've been on a boat. I've been on many boats when I was younger, and big boats too. And it takes quite a lot of energy to actually go in another direction, right? Especially if the water is choppy and the waves are wild and it's sort of swaying you and the wind's pushing you this way and you're trying to go this way, right? That's where we at right now. That is what my guides are showing me right now as I speak about this. So there is this energy that is, we're going this way and we're trying to literally move the ship over. So that requires patience. It requires alignment, breathing, and deep anchoring so that we can actually see forward with vision where we're going, right? Because if we make this rash, the boat's like spinning in circles, basically, right? It's not going nowhere. And everyone's getting seasick and it's like, ooh, I can't get out. I gotta get off this boat, right? But if we collectively are able to regulate and anchor back into the earth, anchor back into our nervous systems, we can come back on the deck of the boat and go, what is needed? What is needed now? Right? What is my role here? And I think this is a question not just of what's happening, the horrendousness of what's happening in the Gaza Strip, but it is a question of our time. What is needed here, right? As we move from the I into the we. The days of separation, of isolation, of walls, of me, of individualism, they are disintegrating. They are moving away, right? And unfortunately, fortunately, these disasters, these devastations are crumbling those walls and eviscerating that separation super quick, right? And that is heartbreaking in a lot of ways and very hard, right? I'm not going to lie to you. But it also is then creating this coming together and this possibility of flocking and flowing and creating and generating together in a different way, right? When I say that, I mean collectively. What is our vision of what we're doing here? Why are we here? Not just why am I here, right? Like that's important. And on a different level, that needs to be worked out, right? What is my role? What am I doing? Who am I? All of that's really important work. What I'm talking about is another layer, another tier that we're entering and we're being called into is what are we doing here? What are we doing together? How do we want to move? How do we want to steer the ship, right? And can we pause long enough, breathe deep enough to allow that guidance to come through all of us and open our hearts to a radically different way of being here? And that's literally the energetics of this week and next. How willing are you to be moved and for your day-to-day to be shifted and changed, right? Humans are really interesting in where we really love patterns and we really love certainty, right? We like known. No. There's like, no matter what sign or whatever you are, there's a level of like knownness that feels comforting and good. But then there's this also aspect of us that loves novelty, adventure, expansion, excitement, unknown, depth, mystery, right? Magic, possibility, whatever you want to call it. So that energy is certainly making its way more into our earthly planet, right? This energy of unknown, of mystery. But it also comes with a lot of different things, right? And something that I really believe in and that I really, really think is powerful in this time is really pausing to check in with yourself, with who you are, why you're here, what you're doing, and how you want to be connected to the we, right? And right now, as I sit here in pain enough for me to almost stop this video, which I'm going to do very soon, I can feel that calling. I can feel that calling. And it has led me to shift everything in my work right now. The things that I had ideas or that were coming through on a level of what was have changed. They've changed, right? So my offerings are now different. So I go back to the drawing board and figure out, what is it that you want me to do, Spirit? How do you want me to lead in this time? You show me. And they have laid my butt to the ground and said, lay down and stop. That's what you need to do right now, right? And I trust it. I trust it. I don't understand any of it. My human logic brain doesn't understand any of it at all. It's like, what? How can I do that right now? I can't do that. It's all stuff. No. Right? No. That's not what is needed now. And what is needed now is I need time for that to emerge. Right? And I need to be well enough to hold and offer that which is not needed now. Right? I have to integrate and metabolize all that's happening right now with my fellow kin across the globe. And I need to move in ways that I know and that I feel what's happening on a regular basis. Now, people give me questions all the time. Well, Ash, doesn't that mean I'll just be depressed all the time and sad? No. You may be sad and depressed, right? And there may be things that were already there in the first place that are going to trigger you into that, right? But that doesn't mean that That's the invitation, to go into it and go deeper into it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's an invitation to really be able to see how you can pivot, emerge, adjust, pivot, emerge, adjust, and create more aliveness in your life, right? So, what does that aliveness look like? It looks like going against convention. It looks like going against schedule. It looks like going against, well, we just got to do, what is it, the phrase, business as usual. There is no usual anymore. There is no lie of the usual anymore. There was never a usual, but there's no controlling life right now. There never was. It was a very powerful thought that took hold and people agreed to it, and then it was, right? That is crumbling, right? So what's actually needed and what's actually going to move us collectively forward is being divergent, is doing things that are not what we're supposed to be doing, right? And that might be radical for you. It's not for me. I literally live my life in that way. I have never fit in. I have never been able to break my body for others. I can't. My ancestors did that. They did that. They broke their bodies for others without choice. And their deaths, their legacies give me choice now. They give me power. And I'm not saying money or prestige. No, I didn't come from none of that. I just believed that I was a powerful being, that I'm powerful beyond every circumstance I was in, right? And that knowing allowed me to not get stuck in the mortality of life, right? Because I knew it's just a blip on a radar. Like, I'm here to do something. I'm here to show up, and I'm here to radically shift and grow all the time. All the time, even when I don't want to. That's especially when I need to. You hear me? Yeah. So that is what this time is. I'm not even going to say calling. It is shoving us into. It is shoving us into. And you may feel it in different ways. You may be so frustrated right now with things not going the right way. You may be like, oh, everything's not working. I just won't get it. It's because that energy, right? We're going against the energy of what is right now. To go into it is actually softening, right? Softening into it, getting into the river, to the waters, right? It's a very watery energy right now. So that we can also come back to our emotions, so we can feel what's important, what's really important to us right now. What is of value? When I hear about these children and these families being killed, like I can't fathom that happening to my family, my loved ones, my partner. I don't even know. I don't even have words. I don't even know. I think it would just be pain and anger and rage. I can never know that experience, but I can imagine, and I can put my heart into their heart and try to understand what that would be like in the midst of war all around me, and bombs and blackouts and no food and no water and complete terror and fight or flight in my nervous system all the time, and others around me, right? No wonder why some of us are feeling so unstable in our bodies right now. If you look at a picture, you can Google this, of the nervous system it's really a wild thing. It looks like all these like fibers going off. It's like literally a skeletal of electricity. It looks like that's inside of us. We all have one, a nervous system. And it picks up all this information, right? It's also why I'm able to do my job as a psychic medium. My nervous system is able to take in the emotions, the sicknesses, the everything that someone went through in the physical world. And then that's how I can say the words that I'm saying, because I can feel it in my body as if it's my own, right? That is part of my gift, to be hyper empathetic to the point where I can feel it as my own, right? And that has obviously I've created a lot of boundaries around that, because if I walk around the world like that, I would be very confused as to what is mine and what is someone else's. That's also something I teach in a different class, but it's really important, especially in this time, to recognize, oh, we are not okay. I am not okay. You're not okay. We're not okay. And it's okay to not be okay. It's actually pretty normal as to like the energy and what others are experiencing across the world, right? It actually meets the moment. Our unokayness is meeting the moment. It's meeting the moment, right? And so even in that, there's some grounding. There's some, okay, right? So then what do we do from that, right? What choices do we have? Well, there are many choices, as my guides say, so many choices, right? We can push through and just ignore. And then that intensity to which we're experiencing only gets bigger, right? Much like if we talk about shadow work, that little gremlin in the closet only grows huger the more we ignore it and the more that we're like pushing it away. It's just how it is, because it wants to come up, because we want to heal, because the body wants to be in alignment with the spirit, because that is what is, right? That's how we are programmed. So we can ignore this energy that's happening, and we can then feel the intensity of things falling apart in other ways in our lives, right? What's happening. Or we can kind of go deeper into the sensation and the feeling. We can meet it. We can lie on the ground and just cry. We can gather friends and have tea and say, I'm really not okay. Are you okay? No, I'm not okay either. Okay. What do we need right now so that we can be in support and be in the meeting of this time, right? It can look like creating movement or dance space around what's happening right now to move the energy, right? A lot of this work is emptying out the energy, emptying, right? If we house and store, we can get very sick very fast, very sick very fast. When we allow the energy to move, we can actually get resiliency around it. And when I say resiliency, I'm not talking about toxic resiliency where you have to be just tough and strong and like that's it. I'm talking about resiliency that's like a mushroom, that literally has all of these mycelium networks underground, that's fully supported, that is letting the energy come through, that is spreading that energy out, then is transmuting it. Like it is alive, breathing, and moving, right? Like many beings, like the plants behind me, like all these beings do so well. That energy needs to move. Right? It's not meant for us to ingest and then let settle in our body. It's meant for us to unpack and to be with and take out and look at and get help from others at looking at it, right? So, yeah, here we are. Here we are. My prayer and my hope for you right now is to find a pause, to go slow and be gentle with yourself, with others, to know that there is severe dysregulation happening in so many places and with so many people, and that you're not alone in whatever you're experiencing, whatever you're walking with right now. I'm with you. We're all with you. The plants are with you. The animals are with you. we're all feeling it. We're all feeling it. And so, this invitation is to really walk with these questions of how is it that I'm meeting this time on many layers, my personal life, right? The collective, right? And what might need to shift to see the connection to it all. And I don't know what that is for you. But I know if you walk with this question for a while, you'll start to feel and hear things. The tricky part is having the courage to follow what you hear, what you know deep in your belly, and what needs to come out. That is the work of this time. Sending you all so much love, so much care, so much kindness, and deep, deep compassion in this time. I'll see you all on the other side.